Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to our platform, and thank you so much for joining our platform today. If this is your first time here, please do not forget to subscribe. Subscribe to the channel and support the movement. It will help us. And do not forget to like the video, because if you like the video, YouTube is going to give me water to drink, right? Please give me water, like the video, share the video so that somebody can benefit from it. Because if you do share, trust me, those people are going to appreciate you and appreciate me to watch our videos. I appreciate you. Thank you, Nigeria. Thank you, Ghana. Thank you, South Africa. Thank you, Liberia. Thank you, Cameroon. Thank you, UK, US, Canada, Australia, anywhere you are watching this video, India, Pakistan. Thank you, everybody. So today's video, we are going to focus on how much you need to study in Sweden and how much you need to study in Finland. Now, let's begin with Finland. Remember, admissions is not open in Finland now, but there is a school I'm going to be posting soon that is open for application. But understand that it is not going to be cheap. Then admissions is open in Sweden now, but I will talk about Sweden in the second part. How much you need to study in both of these countries. If you are new, my name is Milton. Thank you so much for coming. Now, remember, this money I'm going to be talking to you, all these things I'm going to be talking about, they do not include your flight ticket, okay? So understand that they do not include your flight ticket. But let's just put flight ticket at 700 euros. Let's just do rough estimate. You cannot change it to your own local currency and see how much you might be needing. It might be more, it might be less, but let's just put it at 700 euros. Remember, this money we are talking about, this amount we are going to talk about, it doesn't include accommodation. Let's just assume that you are getting accommodation before you move to Finland or Sweden, but we are not putting accommodation in this amount. But let's just say accommodation is 600 euros, because the goal here is to make you understand or to know the right figure you should be preparing. Because I want to just talk about two things, but I want to make sure that when I talk about those two things, you should also add this amount and know that you need it. And let's also consider your visa fee to be 300 euros. We are just assuming. We are not saying that this is the amount. We are just assuming. It can be more, it can be less. Let's also take documentation. Let's just say everything your documentation is going to cost you, because for these countries, these two countries, you do not need authentication and verification. You don't need it. Okay, so let's just say documents is 150 euros. Now add this money and keep it aside. Okay, let's go now to the real detail. For you to apply to Finland, you do not need to pay application fee, not at all. Okay, so your application is free. Until you have gotten an admissions, that is when you start spending money. Okay, now this is the big part I want us to discuss here. When you get admission, remember in some of my videos I said if you are applying to Sweden, to Finland, we are talking about Finland now, you should look at applied science universities. The reason why I talked about applied science universities is because these universities are somehow affordable. When I say affordable, I'm talking about a fee of at least $5,000 or 5,000 euros per year. Yeah, applied science universities used to charge like that. Then there is also a portion of a scholarship. If you pay early, you can be given maybe 500 euros off. But right now, some schools are contemplating, let me say the government is contemplating of increasing tuition fee in Finnish universities. Normal universities like Helsinki, University of Eastern Finland, Turku University, they are quite expensive, more than some applied science universities like Savonia University of Applied Sciences, Nova University of Applied Sciences, Diak University of Applied Sciences, right? That's why I encourage you to check applied science universities. But again, it depends. Do they have the course you are looking at? Then when you get admission, they will ask you to pay a tuition deposit. Let's put the tuition deposit at 5,000 euros. We are assuming that it's 5,000 euros. This is the first money you need to study in Finland. 5,000 euros. Copy it somewhere. Now, the second money you need is you have to pay this money to the university. Then they will now give you confirmation to apply for your visa. Now, when you are to apply for this visa, proof of funds to study in Finland is how much? We are taking into consideration that you want to move alone. Proof of funds is 6,720 euros. That's like 4.6 million CFA francs. Now, add 4.6 million or 6,720 euros to 5,000 euros. Let's just say approximately 11,000 euros you need. Now, how much is 11,000 euros in your local currency? This is the money you should have at hand, because your proof of funds is going to be in your own personal bank account. You are not using, maybe you can get a sponsor, but getting a sponsor is somehow trickish. I will advise you to put the money in your account. Okay, then you show all the necessary paperwork. It is important. Now calculate 11,000 euros. That's for your tuition fee and your proof of funds. Remember, we didn't add the movement in and out. We didn't add movement for documentation. Maybe you are going there to maybe get your original documents, or maybe you have to ship anything through VFS Global or something. We didn't add visa fee when you still have to move to Nigeria and apply for it, or go to the embassy and apply for it. If you are Cameroonian, you have to go to Nigeria and do upload together with fingerprints. We didn't add that. We didn't add accommodation. We didn't add flight. But I mentioned the figures before. Now, those figures, those are estimates, not the original figures. Those figures, then you add to this initial 11,000 euros. This is our rough estimate on what you need to study in Finland. Okay, you might use some of this money only when you go to Finland, but make sure that you have this money, or your sponsor have at least part of this money. It's so important so that you can be planning yourself. Like I told you, jackpot is getting so difficult nowadays, and you need to plan, especially financially, to really succeed in this thing. Now we are done with Finland. Let's take a look at Sweden. Assuming everything works the same for Sweden, flights, accommodation, visa fee, documentation, keep them aside, right? Now, let's take a look at the universities in Sweden. Like I always say in my videos, Swedish universities are very expensive. And if you really want to stay back in Sweden, if you want to move to Sweden, work as a student part-time, then stay back after you graduate from school, you have to get a program that is at least 120 credits. A 90 credits program is 1.5 years. 60 credit is 1 year. 120 is 2 years. It's better for you to get a 2 years program, because it will enable you get your personal number easily. It will enable you get your Swedish ID card easily, and it will enable you open a bank account very easily without stress. And these are the things you need to look for a job, and these are the same things you need to stay back in Sweden and work. Now, keep those things aside. Let's take a look at tuition fee. Tuition fee in Swedish universities are quite expensive. Before you even apply, you will see the deposit you have to pay. Sometimes the deposit is up to like 60,000 Swedish krona. Okay, most schools, the minimum I've seen so far is around 2.8 million, which is like 59,000 Swedish krona. And this deposit means that when you gain admissions, you will have to pay this money cash complete before information will be sent to the school. Then the school will now confirm and send the confirming documents. Then you now apply for visa. First, you need to keep 3 million or 3.2 or 3.4 aside for Sweden. Let's just say you are keeping 2.8 million CFA francs, right? That's about 60,000 Swedish krona. You can convert to your own local currency. Now, when you are to apply for the visa, proof of funds to study in Sweden is around 7 million. Or let's just say 7.2 million for a single individual. And you cannot get a sponsor. You have to be the one to sponsor yourself. The money must be in your bank account. Now, if you are putting this money in your bank account, about 7 million CFA francs, you have to check. There is a video I did already about that, so you should check it out. Then you plan yourself properly, right? If you check that video, you will see that 7 million plus 3 points, you need at least 10 million upwards. How much is 10 million CFA francs to euros? You can convert that. So approximately you need around maybe 15,000 Canadian dollars or US dollars, right? Or maybe 13 to 14,000 euros if you really want to migrate to Sweden alone. So this is just a rough estimate of what you need. Now, exclude your flights, exclude accommodation, exclude your visa fee, exclude your documentation. Remember, for Cameroonians, you also need to add transportation to Nigeria, because definitely you have to use the road or maybe the sea to go to Nigeria to apply for your visa. You also need, I have somebody who moved to Nigeria. He told me he spent like 100K to reach Nigeria and come back. Right, 100K CFA francs to go to Nigeria and come back, because you need to settle some controls on the road, some officers or maybe border officers or stuff. So guys, you have to put this into consideration. So at the end of the day, for you to successfully move to Finland and Sweden, for Sweden you need around 14,000 to 15,000 euros. For Finland you need maybe around that type of 8,000, 9,000 euros or even more. Because of what? Tuition fee has to be paid before visa application. Without you paying the tuition fee, you cannot apply for visa. This is a fact. So you need to put all of this into consideration. Prepare your mind. As it stands right now, I think only Portugal is the cheapest country to enter. Yeah, looking at the tuition fee, looking at the proof of funds, looking at the payment method. Because for Portugal, you can pay just 1,000. You go in, you apply for your visa. You can pay just 1,000 and you are permitted to apply for your visa. Yeah. Even the University of Mino will ask you for just 1,000 euros and you pay, then you get access to apply for visa. But you are going to be paying in installments. That's another good thing for Portugal. So please put all of this into consideration. Before I even go, please remember that there is a new date for you to apply for authentication of your documents at the Portuguese embassy. The new date is between the 7th and the 13th of June. I explained in the other videos. So guys, put all this into consideration and let's see how it goes. And we pray that anything you are trying to get, may you get it in Jesus' name. Bye bye.